G'day everyone, Matt Elder here, and welcome to the second live stream of East Meets West. Hope that everyone is having a good day out there, and here in the UK it is actually a little bit warm for a change. So just go through getting a little bit of feedback there, fix that. All right then. So we got there, just going to be streaming here, a bit of a chill sort of stream that we're doing. Have a quick look here, see who's about at this stage. Thanks for joining us. We've got Atiz is live, great to have you in, and Matthew Builds Bricks, great to see you there as well. Always good to have you guys along and joining us here. So this morning we've got a few people popping in and out at various top points in time. So we'll start off with somebody who is actually quite local here in London and is a fantastic builder. They've got some stuff currently in the Lego house in Billund, which has just reopened recently, and that's good, and it's actually going to be there for another year. So if you do happen to be in Billund up until September next year, you'll be able to catch their models and work there. So we'll bring in the mayor of Micropolis, Kaz.
Hello.
Hey, great to have you in. How are you going?
Not too bad, trying to keep cool, but surviving, thanks.
Yeah, it's a bit of a warm one because I believe your Lego room is sort of in the upper part of the house.
Yeah, unfortunately, and I can't reach the window to draw the curtains because there's a table in the way, so I'm just going to have to put up with whatever the sun throws at me. I'm sure I've got Nordic blood in me because I really don't like the heat very much at all. Give me snow any day.
Yeah, that's the thing. I always joke that being a long time ago Scottish extraction, it's like if I think about the sun, I get sunburnt. So
yeah, I'm with you.
That one. So great to have you along, and always good just to just be having a bit of a build on that too. So, and our next guest seems to be everywhere all the time, whether it's streaming or making videos, and just has a great sense about that sort of thing. So going to bring in Cy O'Connor.
Hello. Hey guys.
How are you going?
Good, thanks. You?
Yeah, good. What's the weather like where you are?
It's roasting. It's 23 degrees and there's clouds everywhere.
I come and live with you, Cy.
I agree with you. Give me snow any day.
Yeah. It's funny because we only in the UK get to have these. I always say there's about 3 weeks of sunshine, so it's not too often we get to complain about it being too hot.
We do love moaning about it, though.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, that's the one thing I've always noticed between here and Australia is that you spend a lot of time with the sky being grey, and it really does seem to affect you. So it's always great seeing the blue sky out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cool. So, what are you building anything today, Cy, or what's the plan?
No, just gonna chill out and chat because when I try and build, I get nothing done. It's nearly a week to build an ice cream truck on over a space of like loads of live streams with everybody, so just not worth it. No.
You're not as slow as London Bridge, surely, though.
Pardon?
You're not as slow as London Bridge bricks, surely.
There's debate about that. There's one day I didn't get the box open even, so I don't know.
That one dropped a bit. Where's it gone?
Yeah, I'm a bit much the same, particularly if I'm hosting or anything like that. I just, if I need to, I've got my little token box here to build something, but most of the times nothing ever comes out. So, how about yourself, Kaz? What are you looking at today?
I'm probably going to be building the Paranormal Intercept bus.
Ooh. Which
I picked up the other day.
Awesome.
But first, I'm just putting together a little, in case I need to leave any live streams at any point. I'm putting together a little back soon sign.
Oh, that's so cool.
With dots. I could just leave it in front of the camera.
No, that's so cool. So I've seen. I think who else has done something similar to that? Is it a Dora build? I think.
Yeah, probably.
The back plaque sort of thing. So that hidden side one, was that on special, or you just picked it up?
it wasn't as special as I would have liked, but I did get double points on it, so you know.
It all adds up and goes towards it. Yeah. So, cool. Just have a quick look in the chat here. We've got Commander Delta. Thanks very much for coming along. It's great to see you in. Lorraine Fox, great to see you in along as well. Brett's Builds, thanks for popping along. Haven't mentioned anything about a train. There we go. You've got Lorraine asking Kaz, how you going?
Warm, but good, thank you.
And then we've got Commander Delta, 1 day till new Star Wars sets. Kaz, I wouldn't imagine that Star Wars sets are going to be on your purchase list tomorrow.
Not generally speaking, no. I mean, I have bought the odd one, mostly when they're very cheap for parts. But although when I wasn't really back at properly as an AFOL, I did buy quite a few of the little smaller sets just to keep myself amused for a while. But they soon got broken up for bits. I'm just not really much of a Star Wars geek, so the last time I watched any of the films was about 1987, 8, something like that. So they're only the first 3. That was it.
Argument could be said that maybe you haven't missed out on much since. But
well, I don't want to go there because other people have different opinions on that.
Fair enough. How about you, Si? Are you looking at picking up any of the Star Wars stuff for tomorrow?
Yeah, 501st Battle Pack, and well, there was supposed to be a whole load of things I'll be getting, but that won't happen till next week because Mario's happening. And then Hidden Side apparently is or isn't retiring, so it's a scramble on to get those sets. So it's like, yeah, but definitely pick up 1 or 2 things on Saturday. Yeah,
I confess the rumours of Hidden Side's demise was one of the reasons I went and got this fairly quickly. But to be honest, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. I do have a video when it coming out later on tonight. Some of my thoughts and some of the things that I've been seeing around and hearing, and so check that out later on. Don't go.
No, don't go. You only just started.
That's so cool.
There we go. And then I'll probably look at this and go, oh damn, I need that plate for something.
Is that when you sort of go, I found some non-Lego plates I can use?
Well, no. The only non-Lego ones I've got are 16 by 16s that came with a bulk lot. And I didn't get many. I got some Lego ones and some bulk, and then there was an awful lot of other proper Lego pieces in it. So I didn't mind too much that they were not Lego. They were Kobe, I think. Clutch power wasn't bad. And frankly, when I build Micropolis, I fully tile them anyway, so I just shoved them under the foundations and said nothing.
Yeah. So long as the clutch is there.
But there was one point where I thought to myself, wait a minute, I'm sure one of the builds that's going to Lego house is on a Kobe base plate. Better do something about that. I did.
It's full clarification. It was fixed. It wasn't there.
It was fixed. Yeah.
Looks like Commander Delta in the chat. 501st Battle Pack. Yep, and I know I'm going to mess this up, so I'll just put it up on the screen there. Hey, Sean Studios. That wasn't the one. And a shout out to No Lag Fox O'Connor. Have I gotten that right? Probably not.
No Lag.
Okay.
Yeah.
Usually screw that up. So, thanks for coming on. Appreciate you being here. Same as Sean. Good to see you guys in. And yeah, pretty much the same. It's like the Hidden Side demise. It's sort of, is it or isn't it? I mean, Lego don't seem to be saying anything official, and then socials having fun just saying it one way or the other. So
yeah, a lot of people want it to go, and a lot of people don't want it to go.
Yeah, it's been interesting in the last month. I've noticed that there's been a lot of, previous to any of the speculation really kicking off, a lot of the hidden sides have gone on some pretty hefty sales at times for, might only be flash, so it's like 50% off or whatever. And that's why when Kaz had the bust there, I saw that I think a week or two ago. It was like a third off or something.
Yeah.
Don't tell me this, Matt. No, don't tell me.
Okay. No, it wasn't. It was full price, and the recommended retail price was just inflated.
Well, I think the other thing that helped was obviously I bought it from lego.com because I got double points on it, but I also then managed to get a gift with purchase, so I wouldn't have had that had I not bought it from them.
Yeah. Because was that the little beach buggy or the Friends one?
No, I think it was the it wasn't a hen side themed one. I think it was the hot rod thing, the blue hot rod.
Oh, okay. They still had that.
I can't remember. I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't ordered that much stuff recently, but I've ordered sufficiently enough that I can't remember what came with what.
Yeah. Commander Delta, everyone like, and I love Star Wars, and this will be an interesting one. Commander Delta, are dots good?
I like them. Not everybody does, but
I like them.
Yeah. I mean, we've certainly. I think it's a different style of building. It's much more that sort of pattern thing, and it doesn't mean that you have to be fully across the construction techniques and everything. And I mean, the price point on them has always been really good. You look at what you get for that, and I think Argos was having a was it 2 for 15, and one of them was in there. So if you happen to pick them up as part of that, then it actually worked out to be really good value.
Yeah. Oh, how good is this torso that I just found?
That's really cool.
Dinosaur under his high-vis vest.
Yeah, it's going to look like a dinosaur, a crocodile, one or the other.
Crocodile.
Could be a crocodile, I guess.
No.
That's interesting. That's not the torso that they show in the book.
Oh, really?
No. Unless I'm going completely wrong. The bag number 1. Oh no, I'm an idiot. I'm building the wrong figure. Oh well.
Is that the one with the public toilet in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking of doing is having part of my Ninjago district transition into some sandy area, proper land rather than water, and then put Apocalypseburg on that, and then things like this bus can go with Apocalypseburg and possibly the massive monkey kid thing as well, because they're too big to go, I think, in the Ninjago district straight as it is. But I think if I had a sort of derelict, rundown Apocalypseburg type bit, then that could work quite well with this bus. I mean, I'm not bothered about the ghosts particularly. I always de-ghost everything. So.
I mean, how are you going for space-wise to put something like Apocalypseburg in there? Because that's huge.
We don't talk about that, Matt. All right?
Okay. I noticed obviously you've done it quite well in terms of not having any road car streets. So then when the speed champions go from 6 studs to 8 studs, it doesn't really make any difference.
That's another good reason for putting the bus elsewhere, because say my little city, which is sitting behind me, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it, but it's where we get caught up with all the wires. There's no roads in there apart from a pedestrianised bit. So basically I've got a tuk-tuk over there, and I suspect this might cause problems. Right at the back, I bought the little road sweeper the other day. In that corner. Yeah. But I figured they could go in a pedestrian street, but I didn't really want to have cars anywhere else. So there's no room for the bus there, clearly.
What was that just behind the road sweeper? That tall, not statue thingy. Is that like a nutcracker or something? What's that?
Yeah, it's a nutcracker model that came as a gift with purchase one Christmas.
Okay.
Well, I just used as a sort of massive statue decoration thing.
Yeah. suppose that was still in the dark age. I hadn't seen that one before, so yeah. This is Jazz. I hopefully get that right. Jace Hesley. Probably messed that up, but good to see you along. Thanks for coming along. And also got Brick Clicker around. Thanks for popping by. Great to see you here as well. And yeah, Jace has said something as much as saying perfect for speed champions, Kaz.
Yeah.
And then we've got Sean Studios. Good to have you along as well. And you got why is there a car on top of a building?
Oh, now that's a massive 3D sign for Pink Cadillac Recording Studios, which are inside.
Ah, yes.
Because I wanted to keep the Pink Cadillac because it's a nice, cool car, but like I said, no room for roads. So I think there's one of the Palace Cinema there. There's a limousine sort of lurking on the street, but that's a special dispensation that's got to drive on the pavement.
Yeah, we've seen when we was living in a rural town in Australia, they had a Chevy something 57 or something, and they'd cut the half of it off and put it into the store up high, sort of like what you'd see on like a Hard Rock or one of those sorts of things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, people would freak out about it, and sort of like in the middle of nowhere, you've got this car in a shop cut in half. It's like, what are you doing? But talking points, so it works well.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, we've got the Mario stuff is also getting released tomorrow. I mean, some stores, I think, like Argos and a few of the others, maybe Sainsbury's has already got them out there. Is that something which either you guys are looking at?
Never been a gamer, so anything like that, I'm quite relieved actually, because there's one or two things I'd like from the August releases, but most of them I'm just like, nah. Anymore.
No, I'm interested in all of them. I was really interested in getting everything all in one go, but I'll get them over time. But I'm going to get the starter pack because I like technology, and I think it's pretty smart the way Mario is made with the Bluetooth and everything, and it'll work well with the NES system that's coming out say Saturday as well. So I'm not overly excited about it, and there are other things to get. But yeah, the starter pack definitely is something to get. It's the lack of new figures for me that's kind of annoyed me.
Yeah. I mean, that was always the thing when they first made the announcement. I mean, you got this weird big fig thing, and okay, yeah. I mean, the more that you sort of see of it, you can kind of see it. But I guess it's the sort of thing, if they release the minifigs at the same time, then one might possibly cannibalize the other sort of thing. Whereas I guess now it's like, well, if you want your Mario fix, then this is how you're going to get it.
Exactly.
And
I am hoping for some sort of Mario Kart extension to the teams, like in the next while. Maybe they could stick minifigures into that. That would be pretty awesome. Like, Woodshop Teacher was on one of the streams the other day with me, and he was showing, remember the older kind of pullback motors they used to have in Lego cars? And we were saying that might be a good idea for those. I don't know if they bring them back, but it'd still be pretty cool. Mario Kart, pull it back, let them go around a little Lego track. It'd be awesome. Yeah.
If they got some way to go around something, or if they're doing more of this Bluetooth scanning, how they might be able to implement that into it. But because I mean, the Mario thing sort of like I love Mario, but I'm still not 100% sure on this flavor of it. It's like but they did have a thing tomorrow where it's I think from the Lego store you gift with purchase. They've got a specialized additional set if you do pick up the starter set. So it's kind of like tempting.
The thing I don't understand about the NES thing, as well, I didn't realize before, but Jang pointed it out in one of his rambles recently. You can actually buy a second-hand, fully working NES and games for about half the price of the Lego version.
Yeah.
So why would you buy the Lego version? I don't understand.
Yeah, I've seen that as a meme, because you can get like the classic look, and they've done miniaturized versions of the NES and things like that, and we'll have like 30 of the classic games on it with a controller for about £100 or something. So
well, I've always been a PlayStation person, so the NES, I played in the NES games in other people's houses and stuff like that. But as a Lego fan, I think it's interesting the way they've implemented a lot of the kind of technology, well, not technology, the powered features in it and the interchangeability. We also think that they might release another kind of another game where you can build it and then take out the main kind of part that goes around, put another one in, and for them, it'd be interesting to do. I think it'd be a waste of money for us if we were to go doing stuff like that, because then you'd have to get an update for Mario. You'd have to have more sounds and stuff for the actual new game. But yeah, I think it'd be pretty cool to have like as a display piece as a Lego fan.
The other thing that worries me also is the Mario game multiplayer in anywhere? Is it just you playing in your own home, or is there a league table and things like that? Because if Hidden Side is anything to go by, and they are cancelling it, which we don't know yet, it hasn't lasted very long, has it, the app? So how long is Mario's electronic accompaniment going to be around?
Well, that's the weird thing. The app was actually updated to include multiplayer, and no one ever talked. I did make a video on it, but nobody talks about the multiplayer aspect that they put into Hidden Side, and that's only about 5 months ago. So with Mario, yeah, it's a kind of a set, a game where you can use the Mario to jump around on different things. So they're kind of, one is technology based, and the other one is basically kind of not Dungeons and Dragons, but a buildable course, if you know what I mean.
Sure, but is there any, as I say, is there any league table that oh, I've got more points than you, do you want to challenge me type thing element of it? I thought there was. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know.
But if there is, and that's part of the value of the set, then if it ain't around for more than 18 months or whatever the timescale is, it's kind of defeating its reason to be, isn't it, a little bit?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's always been the thing with Hidden Side, and even some of the power-up functions that they've done in the Technic stuff lately. I mean, we've all come generally from a dark age, and the thing which I like about it is you go back to all those things and sets that you had when you were a kid, and they still function exactly the same. Yeah. Whereas, Hidden Side, it was always a sort of thing, well, then you lose that element from it. Whereas I think the Mario thing then takes it a step further, where at least with Hidden Side, you can still, like, if you're building the bus, you'd still have it there. It'd still do everything that it's meant to do. Whereas Mario, once the app is gone, then sort of like one of your core functionalities to the actual thing is then gone.
Yeah. I just wonder how much of the app's going to work if and when they turn the servers off. So,
The app isn't really that important. You can play the game without the app. Because the app is literally just an app on your mobile device. And Mario is the Bluetooth part with the lights under his bum that actually scan the pre-applied sticker. So that's going to work as long as you've got batteries in Mario.
Batteries in it. Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess the other also that I can't actually play any of the Hidden Side games because my phone's too old.
No, that's ridiculous. I mean, I had a new Samsung when it came out and it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
No, really? Okay.
So there's so much there's such a big minefield in terms of will the technology work for a lot of people that I wonder whether they're going to shoot themselves in the foot a bit, and people are going to be disappointed ultimately because it doesn't work for me, or it's now stopped working, or I upgraded my phone and that doesn't work, or whatever. Bound to happen down the line.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly been a lot of mobile games, and I think from what I recall, some of the Street Fighter ones, which is a relatively big title and things, and some of the older versions of that, they've basically stopped supporting, or people upgrade their phones and then they can't re-download the app because it's not there anymore. It's like, well, actually, I've just lost my thing which I had before. So it's this really interesting place for Lego to be, because it's sort of like they obviously in the early 2000s went we need to do more of this digital stuff, and it almost bankrupted them, and then now they're coming back and dabbling with it again, and it's like
yeah. I mean, at least if you've got an actual old NES, as long as the hardware doesn't die, you can still play the games. There's no, I'm assuming there's not much, it's a standalone thing, is it, or what?
Yeah, it's still the standalone. I mean, usually with the older systems, your biggest issue now is the fact that they rely on the old CRT tube type TVs.
Yeah.
So then you've got to mess around with cables and adapters. But once you get beyond that,
You mean you don't all have big CRTs kicking around?
How many times have you moved?
As a former broadcast engineer who cut their teeth on big old CRTs, I have a kind of fond spot for them, but I don't have one now.
Here's some transparency. We have one 15-inch still.
Wow.
Quite good.
That's your gaming device, is it?
No, yeah, no, it's in one of the bedrooms. But yeah, I mean, it's a Sony one, from the early 2000s when they made things properly, and it still works.
Yeah.
Now that was the thing with the Sony stuff at the time. Around that time, used to be really good quality, and then they started to cut corners, and then particularly with the rise of LG, it's like, well, wait a minute, your stuff isn't quality anymore, and LG's as good, and the price isn't there. So
all the stuff was made in Japan. Well, when I worked for Sony for a while, and all the stuff was made in Japan, and then over the years, obviously everything went to China for obvious reasons. But we used to get a lot of Chinese people coming into the various shops, and they'd look to see where the stuff was made, and if it was made in China, they wouldn't buy it. They hope look for made in Japan, especially with Canon stuff as well.
Yeah.
So, just have a quick look here. Bricks Toys, thanks for joining us. Most people from the UK this morning. So far, yes. I think some of the Aussies might be along in a little bit, hopefully.
Is it just me, or is this cone massive compared to the 4-minute figure? Sorry, I was interrupting you there, Matt. Carry on.
Yeah, no, that's cool. It's interesting when they do those little scale things, because it's
they speak to the toilet from hell. That's what they double as.
I mean, anytime you've got to deal with those portaloos, half the time they're from hell anyhow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, this is going to need a bit of work, I think. Deghosting a toilet is my first job.
You haven't thought of putting like a haunted couple of houses or something in your city?
No. Unfortunately, the city's just about bust for room anyway, so I don't know what I'm going to do now. Oh, and it shoots brown discs out at you. Perhaps slightly unsafe.
Just like Glastonbury.
Yeah.
Just
never
like
been, never planned to.
Let's see now. So what is everyone building? Well, Kaz is building the Paranoia hidden side bus.
That thing.
That thing there.
I showed you the back because you can't really see what it is on the front, as we've discussed in the past.
Yeah,
you know what that was? I mean, there's a bit of bus at the back, but not a lot, is there?
Yeah, no, it's always one of those things. It's sort of like, well, if they try something new, then if it works, then it can be a great thing, and if it doesn't work, then that's the reason why the line failed. But I mean, what do you think of the box art, Si?
It's terrible. It's really bad. And normally I like it. I like it as a kind of an art piece. I think it looks really nice, but for sales wise, it's not good. When it released first in our Smith's toy shop, the staff obviously were confused by it as well, and they put all the boxes in backwards.
Yeah.
That's
really?
Yeah, and
I've heard that of other places as well.
Yeah, I mean, and even when I went in when the second wave came, I went in to have a look, and I couldn't figure out which were the new ones, which were the old ones. You have to take everything down and have a look, and I think they could have done something a bit better, definitely.
Yeah, it's something which they've obviously tried, and that's that's funny if staff were putting them in backwards, because yeah, it would be the main part of the Lego would be displayed on the other side, because the box art is that.
I mean, by all means, advertise that there's another part to it, but if the main reason to be is not shown on the front of your box, it just sounds daft to me.
Yeah, and on launch day, I went in to have a look, and there were kids or parents there, and the kids like, "Hey, it's hidden side," and the parents like, "I don't know what that is. Look at the city stuff. Come on down here." And I was like, "Oh man!"
I didn't even realise it was Lego.
Yeah,
I mean, there is a logo, but
it's on the wrong side.
It is so different, from that there. So, yeah. Cool. I thought I saw a comment back up here a bit. I'm just getting back to the NES. I believe from Soda Bricks, I believe Lego has noticed there is a huge amount of Nintendo collectors who will just buy it because of the Nintendo stamp. Unfortunately, I believe it will be hit and miss. This set, most people skipping. Yeah, I think it's very much along the lines of what Kevin Hinkle talks about in terms of getting Lego into non-traditional Lego places. So, having those sorts of things in a GameStop or, any of the video game stores and things like that, it almost becomes a no-brainer. And I mean, particularly with that NES set, it is the buildable TV and everything. It is obviously going after a very specific demographic of, people who grew up with it or have fond memories for it, because it is, even in pounds, what is it? It's about 220 pounds or something?
Yeah.
So it's not a cheap one. And then, as you were saying before, Kaz, it's like, well, yeah, if you half the price, you can actually get the real thing and play it. So, but I think they've also got these the blind bags with the characters, which I thought I saw somebody. They were like about four pounds or something? So
it won't be long before minifigs are up at that.
Yeah, well, they've already been increased in the States. We're just lucky. For us, I think they're €4 for us. I think they're $3.50 for you, are they?
I haven't bought one for a while. I think maybe they're that.
Yeah, I don't buy too many minifigures to begin with, so
I do. I buy 2 sets. I make sure I get a full collection, then make sure I have another full collection, and then the kids want them as well. So it's pricey.
Why do you have 2 sets, Si? I'm curious.
One to have a complete collection, and then the other one to swap around torsos and accessories and hats, and, just to tart up the place.
Is it not easy to just buy those bits from Bricks and Pieces?
Oh, I do as well. No, you can't buy minifigure parts from the CMF from Bricks. Even if you get the exact part number, it says this don't sell CMF in Bricks and Pieces. But yeah, some of the accessories don't even appear there unless they appear in a set.
Yeah, so if you want to get the bits and pieces.
I got some turtles on order.
Oh, awesome.
And I got not quite minifigs, but I've ordered some stingrays as well.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Cheaper than buying. I'm not bothered about the rest of the set, but I think they were £1.60 each, something like that. So that was pretty good.
That's not bad.
Yeah. Let's run through some of the comments here. Terrible. Matthew Builds. Terrible. It's rubbish. People think it's a game. I'm guessing that's referring to Hidden Side. Soda. I'm hoping the new castle to hit clearance myself, as it looks like a great parts pack. What's this one here? Breast Build. The Hidden Side one. I have it. Shout out to Helen and Mary, who's, I believe, watching that as well. Great to have you guys along. And Brick Clicker, Inside's got to be one of my favorite themes at the moment. I think, yeah, it's been one of those ones which people seem to either really be into it or, yeah, it's kind of like the electronics is seen as confusing or something. I'm not sure on that one.
I really like the first wave. I didn't buy everything, but I bought quite a few. And then the second wave, there was only 1 or 2 I liked. So it's gradually been decreasing my interest in what I'm buying, which is interesting. I'm hoping there will be a bit of a revival if there is another wave that I'll think, oh yes, let's go for those.
Yeah, I like the place sets and buildings. I thought we were onto a winner with this particular team because they had like some more buildable kind of there were more buildings than vehicles, and then they started to throw out all these vehicles at us. I was like, oh god.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, I love the shrimp shack.
Yeah.
I didn't get the high school because it was a bit pricey, but the shrimp shack was lovely, and even the shrimp boat and the lighthouse. I've used both of those in mine in Jogger District, and they fit in really well. Obviously, without the ghosty bits happening. But
another instance of de-ghosting it. So. And Brick Clicker, the Hidden Side Castle's already dropped down by £18 in the UK. Yeah. What was that starting? Can't remember what the price on that one used to be. And Soda Bricks, the big problem with video game merchandise is it gets clearanced at huge amounts in places like Game, H&B, and GameStop. Just reading through some of the comments here, just catching up. I know people just talking about Sean, £3.50, expensive for the minifigs. Brett's builds, £3 Butsu, 2 Series 16 2 days ago. Brick Clicker, I just buy a full box of them. It's cheaper, around £1.80 a fig. How many's in a box?
60.
60.
A few of us from London AFOLs are clubbing together to buy a whole box. I don't want all of them, but they don't all appear in the same numbers, so I'm going for the extras that are over and above the whole. So I think you get 3 whole sets plus some others. Is that right? Because there's about 16 in each set, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you were, it'd be about that with a few left over.
Unfortunately, the ones I actually want aren't necessarily the ones that are left over. So.
This comes down to
negotiation will have to be had.
Matthew builds bricks. I did a huge Lego bricks and pieces order. It's better value though from Sean. Sean, I can't get the full box in the first place. The school I found on eBay, day of release, half price. Wow. That was a good hit. Wonder how that came in. So somebody bought it and then their parents found out. It's like, no, you are selling it.
Maybe. Maybe.
Bricklacker, Saya Connor, I made mine from local toy shop. They sell me a full box at the price they buy it, which is really nice of them. Yeah, if you're basically getting a wholesale price on it, that'd be pretty awesome.
Why have I got so many bits left over, boys?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. I'm sure I'll figure it out.
Have you started to de-ghost them already?
Maybe. Well, I mean, there's snot green torso heads and stuff, which is fine. But I've also got, actually it's not so bad, a couple of 1x2 got, what are they, gold or silver bar things.
Yeah.
So they should go somewhere. And there's a couple of these which need to go somewhere as well. But everything else for ghosty bits, which I'm not going to bother with, and pancake poop. But I do need to find out where these are supposed to be.
And Sean's, is it easier to buy from Bricklink or Bricks and Pieces?
It depends.
I prefer Bricks and Pieces.
Is Bricks and Pieces, do they have like limits on what you can get?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you answer, Kaz.
Bricks and Pieces and Pick-a-Brick, which are 2 different halves of Lego's website, have different limits on things and sometimes different prices. If you're confused, Robin Hood Bricks did a really good video on buying from both of those recently. So I'd advise going to watch that because it is really helpful. I mean, I knew roughly what was going on anyway because I've used both all before, but if you don't know where to find bricks and pieces, because that's quite well hidden, versus the pick-a-brick. It's a useful thing to go and have a look at. Robin Hood bricks.
Yeah, definitely check that out. And for everybody out there who's watching, make sure that you subscribe and check out Kaz and Sai's channels. Sai's got a lot of content which is always coming out, and Kaz puts out a lot of her Micropolis and minifig habitats, which are always custom ones that she does, which are always great to see it. And
there was some GBC today, just for a bit of change.
Ooh, I forgot that. So, give us a bit of a teaser.
It's already out. You don't need teasing, but it's designed by a guy called Stefan Ill, who I met last year at Skebeck fan weekend, and he brought he's called a Cradle Tipper. He's quite well known in the GBC community, and the plans are available free on Planet GBC. And it's called a Cradle Tipper. It's a really clever mechanism that uses the big banana gears to basically move a little ball basket, which then the back of the banana gears stop the balls coming out of the main hopper, and the tipper goes and tips the balls into another flat sort of ramp, and they stay there until the ball bucket gets to the other end and goes low, and then the back end of the banana gears pushes the ramp up and the balls go off. It's a lot easier to look at what I'm talking about rather than explain it. But it's a really elegant mechanism, and I built it a few months ago. Haven't taken it to a show yet because there are no shows at the minute, but from what I saw at Scarebeck, it looks pretty reliable, so hopefully that will be good another time we have a GBC.
Shows are up and running and can actually start daisy back together. Have you ever done much with GBC, Si?
No, first time I've heard of it.
Oh, okay.
You haven't heard of it? Great
No.
ball contraption.
I've seen them, but I've never knew what they were called. I just used to call them those Lego ball device things.
Yeah, great ball contraption. Go watch a few of Beyond the Bricks videos of the big circuits in the US.
It's fascinating.
The one at Scarebeck was worth a watch, partly because I'm in it. But I'll pop a link into the chat if I can find it.
Yeah, if you just probably drop it into the private chat, because if you drop it in, it might not become through.
Yeah, and also I'm on the wrong device to do it in the other one.
See you later, Sean. Thanks very much for stopping by and being in the chat there. Appreciate that. And Atiz, Smith is great, and then Brick Clickers, might also film a vlog there. Yeah, I noticed. I only discovered them recently, and certainly one I found, walked in there and they had some old sets there which they're trying to just get rid of for like half price or something crazy. So it was like the what was one of them? It's not the Rex Explorer, it's the Rex Fist or whatever it was.
Oh yeah.
Which I think had been discontinued, and that was half price, and they just had it sitting there, and obviously everybody just keeps walking past it and not
Wow. I'd jump on that.
Yeah, because certainly I'd seen that on like the secondary market. They're wanting a premium for it now. So
wow. For some reason, I just didn't pick up a lot of the Lego Movie 2 sets. Some were really good. So the one I wanted was Emmett's house, and I just left it and then vanished. It's just like, you know, the way these sets, you say, I'll get that some stage, and then the next thing it's gone. You're like, oh, well, that other shop had it and it's gone. You're like, where the hell am I going to get that now?
Yeah, the Lego Movie 2 sets, like, they basically only were on the shelves for about 9 months. They sort of, most of them released in February last year, and then come November, they're pretty much just gone.
I got my survey of these anyway.
Oh, why can I not find what I want?
Brickwick's come back. I should be getting something very special from Smith's tomorrow. I have to be there 30 minutes before they open for it. Ooh.
What's that?
I wonder if it's a certain bit of technique.
Exactly, yeah.
Are you much into the Technic side?
It doesn't appeal to me, no. It's fantastic what it is, and there's great parts and pieces. It's never appealed to me. I do like the remote control Technic, kind of track vehicles. I like those; they're pretty cool. But if I start getting into Technic, I'm going to have to sell a kidney and an arm. Do you know what I mean? No. I do have one of the really old 90s Technic sets, and it has, remember those Technic figures? The kind of lanky guys?
Yeah.
So I have two of those. It's unopened. I'm not going to open it, and it's pretty cool, yeah. So, but that's as far as I'll go now.
Hey, Brick Studios, nice to have you along. Is that saying Sai as well? Great to see you here. Yeah, those 90 figures, they reminded me a little bit of pre-mini figures when you had like the buildable figures, and they were, obviously they weren't completely of bricks and things, but it's sort of like going back to that.
Yeah, and Jack Stone kind of era. And did you ever have any Jack Stone stuff?
No, that was Dark Age for me, and I just remember going into a Target, and because obviously the toys were right next to the video games, and I saw some of those there, and when it's sort of like, okay, yes, I remember Jack Stone in particular and seeing it, it's like, yeah, Lego's really moved on from what I used to know Lego to be. So
yeah,
it's funny then when you come back out of the Dark Age and because you just remembered it so well, and then it's like, actually, no, that was a misstep at a time of lots of missteps.
Exactly. I mean, Jack Stone he wasn't very good, but the Lego itself is pretty good. I got some sets from one of the kind of art shops that sell Lego, and it was like for sale. I think some of them were €5, so it was dirt cheap. Picked them up, haven't opened them, not going to open them. I know they're not valuable, but I just like to have bits and pieces from all over the Lego kind of genres, if you know what I mean. So there's a few parts, a few sections I don't have. I don't have many Technic stuff, as I said, and some Paradisa. I really like the Paradisa as well.
Quite expensive, that though.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So in the chat, Matt, there's a link for the Beyond the Brick video, and I've started it at the bit where I talk because that's 17 minutes in. It's quite a long video, but if you've got time, it's really worth watching all of it as well, because it's interesting to see all the other models that are there.
There with it. Yeah, just I pasted that in there, so I just need to double check to see if that's gone in. Yeah, it looks like it's a proper clickable link, so yeah, definitely check that out and have a look at that.
Well, that particular event was rather a special one because people that follow Great Ball Contraption a lot have some builders that they kind of world renowned for what they do and how long they've been doing it. And there's three of them. A guy called Tom Atkinson from the States, who used to do a lot of commentary for all of the big GBC layouts at shows there. Akiyuki, a fiendishly clever Japanese chap, and Maiko Arts, who've done a lot of shows from around in Europe. And middle of last year, so about May time last year, Beyond the Brick had seen all three of these people frequently in various shows around the globe, but they decided that they would try and get all three of them together for Scareback Fan Weekend last year.
Wow. And,
it is kind of one and only thing. It's never going to happen again, probably, particularly now, but we didn't know that then. So basically they pulled a few strings and organised flights and stuff for people. And so Tom came over from the US and Akiyuki from Japan, and they took part in the GBC layout at Scareback. Now, originally, I was only going to take Micropolis to Scareback because that was immediately after me setting up at Lego House. So I thought, well, I'll take a few more bits of Micropolis and display that. But then when it came around to this announcement, I'm like, if I don't display GBC anywhere ever again, it's got to be at this one. Those three are there. So it was a really, really good event. And they were, Tom particularly, he was my GBC neighbour. So I was looking after his one of his modules that was a bit iffy when he went off to do various things. Lovely chap. Akiyuki, very nice, but didn't speak much English, so he had an interpreter with him a lot of the time. but he sort of nodded and smiled when you said that's very good. So I think he understood. And then Michael Watts, again, he's quite big on the European scene. So they were lovely people and had a great time. And it was, oh my God, it was a lot of work because you basically more or less chained to the GBC table for 2 days, 2.5 days, because you got set up as well. So unfortunately, I didn't see quite as much of the rest of the thing as I would have liked to. And if I go again, I won't be taking GBC, but it's really good to have done that once. I've met them. So that's kind of a bucket list thing ticked off. Well, it was a bucket list thing that I didn't know was a bucket list thing until I had the opportunity to do it. So if it makes sense.
Yeah. No. So with the GBC, like in terms of obviously when it's running and things where you got to, I guess, do maintenance and such. What's the main issue which is causing the maintenance? Is it just things after a while just start sliding a little bit, or?
There's various things. Sometimes if modules have any tires, rubber tires that are part of the drive mechanism, or go anywhere near the balls, which some of them do. Some of them use a couple of sort of tires to fire a ball ballistically up between two very fast rotating tires. Over time, the rubber will gradually deposit itself on the balls in tiny, tiny speckles, making them slightly sticky. Also, Lego, it's not necessarily, a Lego machine is not necessarily built for running 8 hours at a time, non-stop. And if you've got any kind of place where it's binding or not quite built right, or the usual issue is, in fact, you've taken it to a show in the back of your car and it's slightly wrecked itself, but you haven't noticed. And even when you've set it up, it works for 10 minutes and then it starts throwing balls all over the place because something's slightly out of alignment that really needs to be fully in alignment, and it isn't. Motors wear out after time. So, I mean, I think one of the most traumatic GBCs I was involved with was after Scareback in November, when I went to the Shildon Brick Show. And I'm not dissing anybody that was there. They're really enthusiastic lug who'd never done GBC before. Now, that's the crucial part, really, because it's a very steep learning curve. I certainly learned an awful lot from the people that I did my first show with, and my stuff was far from reliable the first time I took it anywhere. But if you've got more or less the whole line of GBC built by people who've never done a show before, some of them built from plans that were available online, and I would always recommend doing that if you haven't built any GBC before, because particularly if it's something like one of the Brick World or Brick Fair workshop modules, that will have already been tested quite heavily by the people that built it and the people that built it in the workshop. So the reliability is probably going to be fairly good. I admired some people because they tried building from scratch for their own designs, and that's brilliant. I mean, I'm not knocking that at all, but some of those designs were really not tested long enough under quite punishing conditions, that you've moved it in a car, then you've put it together, the floor's not level, the tables aren't level, there's all these critical things that could go wrong. And honestly, the first half day was out complete carnage. I mean, we were just bypassing modules left, right and center. Things calmed down a bit later on when a few little things had been ironed out, but it was very hard work. And I'm pleased that people are still building, but some people who built for the first time basically said, I'm never doing that again. And I don't blame them either, frankly, because it was very much a baptism by fire, which is a shame. But people said, I tested it running at home. Well, how many balls did you test it with? Oh, I didn't test it with any balls. You cannot test a GBC module without running it with at least 30 balls, because that's the minimum spec that says you have to be able to cope with 30 balls at a time.
Yeah.
And you have to run it for hours, not just 10 minutes on the bench. You have to run it for hours to make sure it works, because otherwise something will go wrong at a show, and then you're under huge pressure because you don't necessarily know what's gone wrong or how it's gone wrong, particularly if you're a novice builder. And meanwhile, all the balls are backing up, throwing stuff into your module that isn't working anymore. They're going all over the table, all over the floor potentially. It's a very stressful environment. So the other thing we did was build a few brick buckets, bypass buckets. So if something was going wrong in the middle of the table, upstream of that, you got the module to spit it into a bucket that you then whip manually around to the next one. And you know, as soon as we got a few of those built as well, it was a bit better, but it was quite hard work, I must confess. And I would go again, but you know, with that many people who had never done it before, I think that was the thing that really made it hard work. And we were all quite relieved at the end of the Sunday. Like, oh, thank God that's over. The traumas of GBC.
Lego Maniac, so many things that wear down when Lego runs continuous, engine burnout, gears grind, connections loosen. Great to have you along.
It wears out over time as well. It does actually wear out, so that can be an issue too. It worked fine last time you used it, but this time it's going wrong because it's now the tolerances are worse and all that stuff.
What I might do is just pop up. I've got this video link here and just have a quick little look at that. Hopefully this works, we'll see.
Oh yes. Now you see, even the pros, if you like, Tom's module, which was the one that was feeding into mine, that hadn't worked very well for half a day either. And it took Tom and my co-arts half a day to figure out what was going wrong with it. And it turns out it was because it was a pneumatic module which draws quite a lot of power, and the module upstream was running on the same 9-volt controller, and because the pneumatic one was drawing so much power, it kept shutting the other one down. So as soon as they ran them on separate power supplies, everything came good. Now that's the sort of thing you only try with experience. You've got no idea. You don't think to yourself, maybe that power supply is overloading. So it's not just novices who have issues by any means. It's a lot of people who've been doing it a long time, and every show is different. One module might be butter wouldn't melt in its mouth at one show, and then you take it to another one and it does nothing but cause you trouble. It really is bizarre.
Yeah, because certainly, as what you're saying, like, to think about knowing that something's drawing power supply and splitting it off too, and it's not quite working properly, like what you say, that's sort of like an experience thing or a real troubleshooting thing, which, yeah, you can see you'd pull your hair out until you figure it out, and then afterwards it becomes blatantly obvious.
I mean, that almost is like, we've tried everything else, let's just try this for the hell of it. It really had got to that point. But sometimes, that's what engineering is all about. As an engineer, as my career, I know all about that. However, I've never been a mechanical engineer as a career. I've done electronic stuff, so I'm not really that confident with mechanisms and mechanical stuff, which is why I don't often build things from my own designs, because I know that they're not going to be reliable enough.
You've had that experience. You know what potentially could be coming. So yeah, it sounds a little bit like when I've done programming and things at times, like logically stuff makes sense, but then when you run it, it just doesn't work. And then it's not until really, Google then becomes a great thing where you can go through and go, okay, well, this isn't working. Oh, it's because actually at a fundamental base level, they don't handle numbers in the same way that we think of numbers. And it's like,
at a fundamental level, my logic was wrong. Which also happens.
And Kaz, what was Joshua like? Did he stick around much? Did you get to chat to him?
Yeah, I chatted to him briefly. Well, he didn't. He was a bit busier than John, who was kind of setting things up and had a bit more kind of not free time, but sort of it was a bit more relaxed. He's not normally the one that's in the spotlight. So if somebody wants to have a chat with somebody, it's usually Josh they want to talk to, not John, if you know what I mean, because he's the front man and the one that's normally in front of the camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were really nice guys and lovely to chat to them, and very sort of personable. So it was great to meet them as well.
They're a great bunch. I mean, they're pretty much. Are they global? I mean, they've got a good network. I mean, that's what I mean to say. They've got a good network around, and then the new recruit Mike is joined on with them as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I think they started quite small initially, but they realised fairly soon that there's plenty of material that they would love to cover, but there's only 2 of them.
Yeah.
So then you get people like Boone, who has done reviews for them before his Lego Masters career took off. As you say, Mike has come over from Brick Vault. He used to work for Brick Vault. Jacob from Brick Baker, he hasn't done any recently, but he's done some reviews of Blocks magazine, which you can't get easily in the States. So it made sense for him to do it in Europe and then, be part of that channel brand when he does his reviews of Blocks mag. So yeah, they're sort of gradually getting a few other folks around and about so they can cover more global Lego stuff, which is great because it means as fans we get to see more than we would otherwise.
Yeah, I wonder if you need anybody from Ireland.
You could do worse than ask. I mean, what's the worst they can say is no, isn't it?
Exactly.
Not yet. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe they'd never thought about it. I mean, what's the show scene like in Ireland? Is it very big, or is there only one or two?
No. There's one. You probably heard of the guys, brick.ie. They're a lug here, and they put on Brick Fail last year, and it was the first. There's been attempts of Lego kind of conventions here, and they have never been that good. And there's one that we go to. Well, it's not even a convention; it's a train show with a Lego train park to it. So there's a Lego city with trains, and that used to be kind of the only thing that we could get to go to. But they put on this big one. It was really good last year, and fairy bricks were over, and there were loads of different people from the Lego community that I didn't know because I don't know the people. Like you'd know a lot of them, Kaz, because you go to a lot of you're a member of a Logan stuff. I'm not, so it's really interesting. It's good to see the stuff you don't think about when you're into Lego. You're not. It's not about going up by bringing it home, putting it on display. It's like, talking to people. There were people there who wrote books about Lego, and off the top of my head, Jessica was there. That was on the
Lego Masters.
Yeah, she was there, and it was pretty cool to meet all these people.
Sure. Well, that's it. I mean, this is one of the sad things at the moment about the shows because it's not just about taking your stuff there and plonking it on a table and talking to people when they come around, public. It is about meeting all those people that you would never encounter otherwise. And of course, we just can't do that at the moment because it's even if you had a show, you wouldn't be able to have the social aspect, which is a really important part of it. And so, we will see when it next transpires that we can, but I suspect it's still going to be a way off yet.
I know, lifetime in the world.
I think most of the news that we keep on seeing is, X show has just been cancelled, and you're sort of like, oh, it's disappointing, but it's like, well, you pretty much know it, So,
I mean, I know that some folks who know the folks that run things like Shield and Brick Show up north, and even though, maybe the museum wouldn't have been averse to having the show, the organisers thought to themselves, it's not going to be the same, and it's not going to be worth putting it on if it's not that, there's not sufficient reason to do it, because so many of the factors that you would normally enjoy, not necessarily as a visitor but as a participant, just won't be possible. And therefore, even if the venue go, well, okay, we'll put these measures in place, sometimes you think to yourself, no, we'll leave it for the moment because it's, there will still be a lot of people who don't want to come even if a show is on. And I'm one of those at the moment. I don't want to go near a show for love nor money at the minute, but it strikes me as a breeding ground for the worst we can think about. So
exactly.
Yeah, you've got such some people don't mind it so much, and then other people at the other extent, that don't want to go.
Some might want to, but their circumstances mean that maybe they're living with vulnerable parents or kids or whatever. So even if they wanted to go, they're not worth risking it. So it's tough times, really.
Yeah, it's such a knock-on effect from that. So g'day, Bricks and Runners. Nice to have you along, and same with Brick in it. Good to see you guys in. Thanks for stopping by. If you guys just want to give the stream a bit of a thumbs up, and make sure you check out definitely Kaz and Sai's channels as well. Always got really good stuff there. So, I mean, for like show newbies as such, what do you sort of recommend in terms of is it a matter of going along to a show first to sort of see what it is, or what's some considerations people miss the first time they display?
I think it's a good idea to volunteer before you display. I can't say I did it that way, but other people have said that that's what they did. A lot of people were kind of, oh, I don't think my stuff's good enough, so therefore I don't want to be involved with it. And then, excuse me, maybe they've gone along to a lug and got involved with the lug, and the lugs often say, come as a volunteer, you know, help people with run the tombola or do whatever. So there's no pressure on you to have something ready to display, but sometimes you could sit on someone's stall while they go and get a cup of tea or go to the loo, or, you know, just give them a 5-minute break so they're not sat there all the time. And that's a really good way to sort of find out how things run and what goes on, what's expected of you as an exhibitor. Even if you're not one yourself, you kind of get the lie of the land. And then I'm thinking particularly of my friend Alan, It's a Brick Thing, who volunteered the first time with Brick Alley doing one of their shows, and he couldn't wait for the next one. He couldn't wait to display at the next one because he'd had such a brilliant time. And his display started small. He's a big Jurassic Park fan, so he started off with the big Jurassic Gate and the dino, the T-Rex Rampage, is it? I don't know. And so he basically displayed some existing Lego sets, but he put them in a little diorama and made some nice foliage, and, you know, just rather than just plonking them on a table, he'd actually made a scene out of the things that you can get from Lego, which is also a great thing to show to the public, because the public can then look at it and go, oh, I've got that set, but oh, that's a good idea, I could lay it out like that and enhance the thing that you bought. It's not necessarily all about building mocks right from the start, but that's a good stepping stone into that. And indeed, Alan has done that himself now. He's built mocks of his own to do with his whole ever-expanding Jurassic World. And in fact, he was one of the exhibitors last weekend at the virtual Bricks at Home show, which was really good. And his display is now grown out of all proportion. It takes over the whole of his dining table, fully extended. So, you know, that's a really good way of doing it, because I'm saying you get to meet people, you get to know people, you get to know what's expected of you and as an exhibitor, and therefore you feel more confident when you're going in to actually exhibit your own things another time. So I'd certainly recommend that. Join a lug if you can. It doesn't have to be. I mean, it's difficult for some people who don't live near anywhere where there are meetups, but at the moment, you know, one thing lockdown has done is meant that people can join lug meetups from thousands of miles away if they can be up at the right time. So that has made it a lot more accessible to some people. And some of the London AFOL's members, for instance, they used to live in London, but they don't anymore, so they've maybe moved to Scotland or abroad. You know, they can still take part if they want to, because we're doing it virtually. So that is an upside, but, you know, I don't know if that completely outweighs the downsides. Probably not.
Yeah, no, certainly with the London AFOLs, it's if anybody does want to come along to one of those virtual things, get in touch with myself or Kaz or somebody, because I think last time we had Sarah Starbrooks, who's over in Amsterdam, who's able to join in for the meet and things like that, which normally you wouldn't be able to. And both Kaz and I are a member of the London ones, and previously on my channel I've done an interview with the founder, Richard Shelby, and it is such a great community and things. So certainly for some people, I know in the digital space, they never go along to the lugs and things like that, or, you know, a bit apprehensive or whatever, but it's certainly something tremendously worthwhile doing for you know, a lot of the reasons that Kaz has just been sort of talking about.
And Kaz, just to ask you, is it frowned upon if people go to display and they're just literally displaying a built Lego set that they haven't modified or done anything? So if somebody brings along maybe 3 or 4 modular buildings and just puts them on the table, you know, some people might look at that and go, that's pretty cool, that's awesome. But do you ever find that other people there would frown upon it, going, you're not really trying?
It very much depends on the show and the people. Now, one thing that they discourage generally is, like you said, buy the latest 3 modulars, build them, put them on a table, because people could see that online or in a catalogue. You're not really adding a lot to those things. If you've got, however, if you've got something historical, like a collection of the classic space sets from the 1970s, the vast majority of people at that show, public, won't have seen them, won't know about them, or they will remember them from their childhood, and they'll go, oh my God, I had that as a kid.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'd always encourage people, if you are going to display sets like that, do put a little bit of environment around it, because it makes it so much more engaging for everybody. And whilst I've never actually run a show myself to be able to say yay or nay, but some exhibitors, some organisers go, well, if you've just putting sets on a table, on a cloth, and that's it, you know, we'd rather you tried to do a bit more, to be a bit more unique with it, and put your own stamp on things, really. I know that perhaps discourages some people, but actually, you know, putting 3 modulars, but making the whole scene, so adding the minifigures out the front, and maybe there's somebody's crashed into a bus or something, you know, at least you're then putting more effort into it and not just plonking sets on a table and saying that's it. So I hope that sort of helps. And like I say, it's different for each show. If it's a small show that's just starting, they may be more than happy for that, because they don't necessarily have the network of being able to invite people who've done a little bit more than that, if you know what I mean. But I mean, I don't want to discourage anybody, but it is much more engaging, I find, as a visitor, even if I know, oh, that set's by Lego, but they've made a really good diorama for it to sit in the middle of. I'm much more likely to go, wow, that's really good, and talk to the person. Whereas if there's a bunch of sets that are just on the table and static, you'll find sometimes that the person isn't even sitting behind the table if they do that. So you kind of think, well, they're very nice, but, you know, where's the engagement there, and what's going to encourage people to get more into the hobby, so, and be more creative with it.
I've seen like cool exhibits before, and I've looked and I've like, hey, I have that, and you don't initially see the set you have, because it's so well shown off with other different things, like, you know, and even small things like a dog having a poo is pretty good to see as well. It's real life, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, somebody said the creativity to pull that in there. So yeah, and then, like, look, you know, we've all had a bit of a chuckle over it. So it's one of those things which, you know, people can relate to, or it's sort of like, yeah, that out of left field which comes in for it. So I mean, do you find, Kaz, if you are sort of exhibiting that, then that means that you're kind of locked to your table a lot more and you can't really get around? And
yeah, you can be. I mean, it depends how. I wouldn't recommend doing a 2-day week, a 2-day show on your own. If you can bring some sort of help. I mean, people do help. Some of the volunteers will sit down for you, but it's a lot easier if you've got a wingman to go, oh, I just need to go to the loo for 5 minutes, or I just need not to be sitting behind this table smiling at people for 5 minutes, because doing that for 2 days on the trot, I do find quite hard sometimes. Yeah. I'm basically happiest in my little cave at home, you know, rather than talking to people. But it's also a case of how long is it going to take you to set up and tear down again. Now, I have done shows with fairly large Micropolis layouts on my own, but 4 to 5 hours setup before the show starts is hard work on your own, and then you've usually got an hour at the end of the game to get it all back in a box. So whilst packing it at home to take to a show, things usually end up nicely sorted, and so that they won't rattle around very much and they won't be in 1,000 bits when you get there. You frequently don't give as much care to what's happening on the way home again. Which is why you open a box when you get back from show and think, oh God, okay, the next 2 days I've got to rebuild this stuff. And
sort it back out. I mean, do you find with that then, once you get back and you've got that collection of bits there, then it is a challenge to rebuild it the same, or do you sort of take photographs, or you sort of have a fairly good idea of how stuff went together the first time? Or?
Bit of everything, really. There's some things that I do struggle putting back together, but I do take copious photos of it when it's finished, when it's first finished, so I know what it should look like. I do rebuild things sometimes if they're really unreliable to travel, or I just say, sod it, I'm not taking it anywhere. And it sits on a shelf and doesn't move, which is fine.
You've made your YouTube video about it. It can live there.
Yeah, exactly. But it can be. I think one of my GBC modules exploded once at the Alexandra Palace show. And because that was a model that I built from someone else's plans and did it sort of by rote and followed the instructions, I didn't fully understand how it worked, if you like. So when it blew itself apart in halfway through day one of a show, I had to try and put it back together. Fortunately, I'd downloaded PDF plans on my iPad, which I got with me. So I was able to sit there and, think to myself, okay, well, it's about in this state at the minute. I need to start from that page and carry on and rebuild it. So if it's a model like that, I definitely recommend taking the plans with you on something like a phone or an iPad. You won't necessarily get reliable internet when you're there if you haven't got it with you already. But if it's your own mock, you might have built it a while back, but you've got a good idea generally how it fits back together. In the chat, I've put in I've put the link in our private chat for the Brick Alley Lego user group YouTube channel, and that is the channel that you will see the Bricks at Home videos appearing on. They haven't all gone up yet, but Bricks at Home was last weekend, as a virtual show over 2 days, and Alan's layout about Jurassic Park is Weird and Wonderful Lego Models Day 1 Session 1, so he's in that one, so it's worth a watch if you want to see Alan's massive dinosaurs.
He's a really nice guy. I talked to him a bit on on Twitter and stuff.
Hey Solo, great to have you along. Thanks for joining us.
Woohoo!
Solo, you're not loading up your van where you can jump in for a bit, or are you just popping by? You're more than welcome to jump through. I think I sent you the link. Just trying to see the this Bricks at Home. That's the one there, I think.
So all of the replay videos will be going up there eventually, but poor Richard's not got round to doing them all yet.
Yeah, just looking at the first one, it looks like it's let's just sort of see if we can share the screen here, or one of them. And yeah, it's like 1 hour and 15.
Yeah, each slot was 1 hour long, but the videos have been chopped up to be about 1 hour each. And inevitably, because people were showing things from their own house, there were 1 or 2 technical issues at times, but you have to take that with a pinch of salt. So
yeah, and that's the sort of thing. Sometimes if we kind of get a bit more used to the technical aspects of YouTube and stuff like that, or if you're doing it and
yeah,
you're not really comfortable. Sorry, which was it? The one that you're talking about, was it day 1?
If you go to the videos tab on that user group on YouTube, it's the 3rd one along. Weird and Wonderful Lego Models Day 1. Nope. I wonder what happened then, because my the stream had stopped for me on my iPad, but I think it was just a mild hiccup. Yeah, so that's the first one was Mock Isley. That one that you're looking at right now is called Mock Isley. Yeah, and that's a classic example where someone's taken existing Lego sets but made something really good out of it themselves. So they've expanded things and they're making a sort of whole Moss Isley themed town. And there's a Lego store and all sorts of other things that you wouldn't expect to see in that Star Wars universe, but they're really talking points, and it's a lot of fun to look at what they've done and how they've managed to incorporate things into their display.
Do you just, Kaz, want to take I guess a step back and just to explain to anyone who might be watching it what the Bricks at Home was all about.
Yes, it was a 2-day virtual Lego event run basically by Brick Alley. Did most of the work, although they co-credited London AFOLs, which was very kind of them. Because all I did was Richard ran a few ideas by me, and I thought of the name, so I didn't do much work at all. But it's much like a sort of one of the Zoom calls that you might have for work, so only more fun, where basically there are a load of people who are watching a stream. It's a bit like this, but you know, expanded in terms of the number of participants.
Yeah.
And one person, such as yourself, will be the moderator of a session. On day one, it was Graham Hancock from Brick Fanatics and Blocks magazine. He was asking questions to people. And on day two, it was myself and Richard did that role. So people will show each session, which was an hour and a half, was divided with 4 different participants. So they get 20 odd minutes each with a little bit of turnaround time to display, to effectively talk people through the model that they've built, whatever it is. And then those who aren't exhibiting sit and watch the stream and can interact with the chat and ask questions as they see things, but they can't actually talk to everybody because it would just be chaos if we had 40 odd people trying to chatter at once. So they ask questions in the chat, in the text chat, and the moderator would then ask the person who's displaying to answer that question and generally use it as prompts to talk about the models. Some people had not done that much before, so they'd say a few words and then stop. So it was a good way of, say, continuing a conversation or getting a conversation started to then have more of an interaction with people who were actually watching it as it went on. Obviously, with the video replays, you don't get any of the interactivity, but they're still interesting to watch nevertheless in terms of what questions were asked at the time and the responses that were given.
Given that, yeah. And I mean, yeah, much like this sort of thing, you can sort of see, somebody's take on a mock Iceland, just seeing different ideas and things that people are putting out there. So that's great.
Not getting on very well with this boss. I'm still on bag 2 out of 5. Too much talking.
You have been talking through a number of things. It's kind of to be expected. It's funny because when you first are on streams, like before you host any, you sort of sometimes then do give the host a bit of stick about not actually building anything. Then you do it yourself. It's like, actually, no, they were doing a damn good job.
Exactly.
So, dearie me. So let's see. In the chat there, Society, do you have like a thunderstorm or something going?
Yeah, it's crazy. I've never heard thunder that loud before. I thought it was something else, but it's thunder. It rattled the house.
Because you haven't been picking up on it. It's just when you put it there in the chat and things like that. It's like, oh, okay, then like.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything. I've not really been paying attention to the chat either. So.
No, it's just a few people going backwards and forwards with that there. So, yeah, definitely. So definitely.
Case. I'm just going to grab that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so thanks everyone who's stopping by at the moment. If you enjoying what you've seen, just give it a thumbs up there. I'd always appreciate it, and definitely check out Kaz's channel and Sai's channel as well. Kaz does amazing everything. Micropolis, which she has in the Lego house, that habitats that she does custom for minifigs as well, quite good. And I mean, you've got a collection of brickheads, but do some custom ones there, and the city, particularly the Ninjago district, I've always thought it's pretty amazing. And Sai does a lot of different videos, content most days, and definitely check that out as well. What else we got going on there? So do you, Kaz, find for different shows that you there's some that you prefer to exhibit at, or there's some that you just prefer to have a wander around, or are you just sort of, how do you decide what you want to do at a show?
To be honest, I haven't done many shows where I haven't exhibited. Just trying to think. I don't think I've done. It may have been a very long time ago, but I got involved with London AFOLs very soon after I came out of my Dark Ages. So it was very quick to then get onto the, let's go and do something together and display and whatever. I think I went to my first meetup in November 2017, and having sort of admitted I was an AFOL in about the October, and then the first show I did with them was January 2018, and that was, I got 2 GBC modules that I built for Ali Pali, the London, let me get this right, the London Model Engineering Exhibition, which is mostly about model engineering, not Lego, but there is one Lego stand which we share with Brickish, and Andrew Walker comes and does his big train layout, and London AFOLs always has part of the table for doing GBC, and it's always very well received. Sometimes some of the other exhibitors who are much older in generation look at it and think it's not proper engineering, but generally the public are very, very keen to see what's going on, and you'll get some kids basically staring at it all day if they were allowed to. And some adults, in fact. So yeah, it's definitely popular.
Lightning.
What was that sigh? A bit muffled.
There was lightning, and it kicked me out. Well, everything just went flash. Yeah. So sorry about that. I'm back.
No.
I'm back. We missed you.
It just sort of disappeared there for a second. It's like, oh, I'm sure he'll be back, because the last we saw you were holding up a cord doing something. It's like, oh, okay, maybe
he killed him.
So do you do much in terms of mocks and those sorts of things, or are you just more?
No, I don't do any mocks at all. I like to modify all my buildings. So I think the designers are nice enough to leave a lot of stuff out. Beds, TVs, toilets. I modify all the 3-in-1s I buy, all the models I buy, everything. And then, I do build some buildings, but I add them onto other buildings. So if one building has no back, I'll build a back, put hinges on it, and then close it all up. So like I've got one of the older prisons from 2015 or 14, one of the police stations, and the prison looks all, for a kid it's great, but for an adult you're looking at it going, those prisoners are going to freeze to death, and there's no and they're going to escape. So I put a big glass front on the front, so it looks kind of officey, and then the back part has the cell doors, and then the back of that obviously is walled up, and I put stairs in, and there's a lift, because how do they get from the ground up to the radar place? So yeah, I do all that. I make it look a bit better.
Okay.
You realise it's slippery slope, Si. You'll be mocking very soon, really.
When I'm saying that, I'm thinking, looking at you going, I'm going to get there at Kaz's level at some stage. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's a step from modifying to just mocking them.
And actually, people that have, got big channels like Small Brick City and people like that often get asked, oh, how do I start? I don't know how to start building my own things. And his advice is always exactly what you've done. Go and modify a set, make it your own. See what you can change without, it falling apart on you and this sort of thing. So it's all a good learning process, and it's the best way to get a foot on the ladder, if you like, so that then you get more confidence about building techniques and what you can do to change things to improve them, and indeed more ideas as well. So it's a good way to go.
I like the look of obviously I'll buy a set because I like the look of it, and I think they look cool and stuff. And now Jang wants to completely eradicate all of the pre-boxed buildings from his city. He wants everything to just be his own creations. So yeah,
it's a nice aspiration, but it's not for everybody.
No. I mean, he's got the time and the cash, and
Yeah, and the viewership.
The viewership,
like his new channel dedicated to a city. I think it got like something like 12 or 13,000 subs in like 2 hours.
Well, that was all the people jumping from his main channel. I was one of them. Well, I haven't jumped completely, but I've subbed to both. So.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the pure build one. That's not my thing. But the city one is like amazing. I mean, it's just a great place to go. And I like looking at trains in general. And it's great to look at Lego trains, and you know the way he doesn't just keep it static as this is my city and it stays like this. He's redoing the zoo at the moment, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah. So I just having a quick look on your channel. Do you have any of the sort of videos where you've just changed or added to like bits of your
no, that's a separate project that I'm working on at the moment.
Okay.
That's up in the air at the moment. Yeah, it's something that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make videos of all the buildings of modified and change around. Because people who watch us probably have these buildings and they might think, oh, you know, what could I do with this? You know, I'm bored with looking at it, but I don't want to take it apart. So modify. You bought it, or your parents bought it, or your wife or husband, whoever bought it, and you want to keep it, modify it, make it better.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, and I think as a little bit what Kaz was saying earlier, it's when people can see what somebody else has done, then it can be like, yeah, I've got that set. Actually, yeah, I could do something similar. You know, the jumping off point.
Yeah, like the detective's office. There's an archway, and I put a door in there, and I fix up the toilet. I left a transparent yellow stud in the toilet, if you know what I mean. And I took out the balcony. There's a fire escape in the middle of the detective's office. I took that in and put in landing, and I made everything a bit more private. And I put some beds and TV, and because minifigures have somewhere to sleep and watch the telly.
Yeah, definitely. I've set myself a challenge, and I haven't really done anything about it yet, of possibly taking one of the modulars, completely disassembling it, and only using the bits to make a mock of my own.
Yeah.
And I haven't done it because I'm scared. Now, you might say, well, you've done loads of stuff. I'm still scared, you know. It doesn't mean just because I built a lot of stuff of my own that I've necessarily got confidence to do that. But part of me really loves the original designs, and I don't want to destroy those.
Yes.
And part of me thinks, well, would I end up just thinking, oh, well, that's a nice bit of that design. I'll just copy that bit, and I've just rebuilt the thing as it was anyway.
Yeah.
So it's all a bit tricky to know how to proceed with that. I mean, people have said, oh, well, try it. And if you build something you don't like, you can always put it back together again, which is fair enough. But I just haven't got round to it yet. But so, I mean, I think it also is a testament to how good the original designs are, that I'm thinking, actually, can I do better than that? I don't know if I can. So I haven't gone down that road at the moment.
Well, so with maybe two, I think it might have been at least, well, definitely one of the modulars. The you have it as well. The Palace Cinema, the base plate. I kept that base plate. I didn't put it into the Palace Cinema because like it's an awesome base plate. I know it's weird. People are probably going, a base plate, how is that cool? I like base plates. It's red base plate. It's a 32 by 32, and it just looks great. And then there was the brown one with the detective's office. I didn't put that in. I put a green base plate in, and I just kept that. Yeah, so I collect base plates.
The other thing I like to do is fully put the interior in something. So my Palace Cinema has now got fully tiled upstairs and downstairs, and you know, there's a bigger concession stand and all that sort of stuff, because whilst what they put in originally was nice, I felt it wasn't quite as big as it perhaps could be.
Yeah.
So that's a good way to go. You know, if you've got the official modulars, make some improvements like you've done with changing staircases and adding loos and doing things like that to make it your own.
Oh, I want to kind of house the projector part of that as well. And I saw a cool idea that I didn't think of. I can't even remember who it was. It's a long time ago. But this person put a kind of a frame where the screen is in the cinema, and he put his mobile phone into it. So the way to watch movies.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
And then what are they watching? Is like a Lego movie or something.
Well, obviously.
Watching themselves. Hey.
Hey, that's me. I know where that is. Yeah, it makes you wonder if they saw a house, and I guess it goes on like a Toy Story thing, like when you had the original where you had Buzz sees himself in the toy aisle with all the other ones, and so. Hey Doc, nice to have you along.
Weird. So this is bag one. You built this in bag one, and then you put it down and don't do anything with it, and then you build bag two. It's much more normal to build some. I'm assuming it'll go in here somewhere. Oh yeah, there we go. That's probably the next step. It tells me is to shove it and click it in because it's got one of these clicky hinge things.
Yeah, to go in there. Yeah.
Weird.
I guess it's one of those things though, but if it's got two, I guess, more or less separate structures, how do you pull them together?
Yeah.
Because certainly I know with a few of the things I've made instructions for, it's like you just need to get instructions done quickly, so it's not the the optimal way to build it, but in terms of producing a PDF with instructions, it's quite easy.
Yeah.
So goodness knows how long they get to spend on it, or it'd just be really fascinating to see their software, because obviously they do a lot of it in digital, and then how much they've got that customized and optimized for them to be able to do things.
Well, I do believe that they're actually a specialist department who build the instructions. It's not the model designers at all.
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't even surprise me. That would make a lot of sense, because there's a certain design language to make it look so easy, and so that kids can understand it with whatever. Because certainly sometimes you more so with some of the technic stuff, you can understand the bits that you need to put in, but because of the way that the angles are and the way that different pins are sitting in different places, it becomes tricky. Is it actually going in that one, or is it going in the hole next to it? And
one thing I've just noticed actually is this instruction book. I know I'm maybe getting a bit lazy, but it doesn't have any of the red lines around it to tell you what goes where. And now this is an 8+ set, so some quite young.
Kaz may have frozen there. Sure.
If you replied to me, I didn't hear a word because my internet dropped out briefly, I think.
Yeah, no, we got up to the point where you started to say 8+ set.
Yeah. Being an 8+ set, I'm surprised they don't give more hints about where to put things. There's no red
line around it. Well, that's the thing I find interesting when you go back to some of the older vintage sets and things like that. Not only do they not have any parts like in the pull-out boxes, they have none of the red outlines either.
Yeah. But then again, those sets are often more straightforward to build, so it's not always a big issue. But I get what you mean.
Oh, dang.
Hey, Doc.
I thought I would have a moment. Hello, Matt the Elder and Cy O'Connor, and of course Kaz. Kaz, the Wonder Builder. You all know that Kaz is in the Lego house. She's just I'm kind of like, I feel like I shouldn't be on. I'm with Kaz. He's got skill. I've got just me. It's just me.
Don't get stage fright, Doc. It's fine.
Yeah, okay. I was loving that GBC. You made that GBC thing today. I saw that.
Yeah. Crazy thing.
Yeah, and I didn't know that Cy made so much content.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah, I just thought you were just a guy. And then all of a sudden I subscribed to you and I'm just like, what the heck is going on here? But yeah.
Yeah, some of it is bonkers and some of it is actually making sense.
Yeah, well, I like how you're like, present the news in a different way. So,
Yeah.
Keep them coming.
I wear clothes in most of it as well, so it's
okay. Wow.
Well,
are you threatening to take your clothes off? Is that what's going on?
Do I need to go and check out your news channel now, Doc?
No. You haven't missed anything yet. I am working on the final drafts of the 72-hour live stream. The review. The review.
The review.
So is
Yeah,
that
I
review
mean,
everybody's 72 hours?
Yeah, the whole 72-hour live stream, one big, large review. I did it last year. I'm, doing it again this year. It's slightly
Crazy.
changed. So, but otherwise, it's going to be about the same.
That'd be so.
Crazy dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a long video because you got, 72 hours. You got to give everybody a little bit of screen time,
Mm.
even if it's just.
towards towards the later streams where you stop caring less, it's more just you talking a lot more, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, well, no. And yes, but no. I mean, I've been taking a lot of breaks from it because some of it's pretty dry. It's pretty dry. So, you're like, okay, I can only take so much of that. Let me go outside for a while and then come back. And then you're like, okay, here we go. But some of it was, some of it's pretty good. And you're just like, wow, that was over too quick. Especially some of the people that only took an hour. It was just like, really? Should have taken, I almost feel like it's like minimum 2 hours. And there should be like a maximum of 4 hours too. Because sometimes it's like when you're going 5 hours in the middle of the night, gets kind of dry. Not gonna lie.
I
don't
didn't
know
know.
how you.
I didn't know what I signed up for. I thought for some reason Butchop was going to have it on his stream, and he'd go to sleep, and then he'd go to his little avatar, and then someone else would really brick to somebody would take over, and and then it might be like Greg, and then I'd have a go, and I didn't know I had to host the bloody thing.
Yeah. Spoilers.
By fire, Si.
Yeah, there's going to be a worst to first. I had to do it.
Not only that, but then
Prepare yourself.
you go on first, and your first stream and things like that, and then you got somebody like Ryan also coming onto your stream as well. It's like, okay,
yeah, well done.
Yeah, it was good. It was good fun. I really liked it. I can't wait to do more. That's the next thing. Ryan said he'd come back on at some stage. Bricky Tech said he'd have a go. So
Be prepared for your chat to blow up when they're on. I mean, don't have a hope in hell of keeping up with it.
I have an army of moderators already. Don't worry about it. I actually.
And we got Mr. Hinkle. Thanks very much for stopping by. And everybody out there, I'm actually going to be doing Kevin's multiplayer session, which is today at 10 Eastern in America, and I think that's about 4 o'clock in the UK time. So again, people in the chat just make suggestions of what we draw, and we'll be doing interpretations of that, and it should be lots of fun. And the topic for this session is going to be movies. So if you can stop by, and
TV movies, streaming movies. Is it got to be cinematic movies? I can't wait to argue with the other people in the chat. It's going to be great.
Yeah, you guys can do that, and we're just going to take it as movies. So
I never knew you were so confrontational, Doc.
Well, only on the Kevin stream. We like to get all nerd ragey with all the other nerds and just drive Kevin crazy. It's a hoot, I tell you, a hoot.
Fair enough.
Oh, and are you going to draw digital, Matt, or are you going to be all analog as usual?
No, I'm going to be analog as usual. So
yeah, that'll be good.
Old school, man.
Yeah, we can see which is mightier, the actual pencil or the electronic pen.
Well, it's the sort of thing. If the if things crash, I still have it on a piece of paper. So
yeah, exactly. You're like, I'm still drawing, Kevin. Yours is gone. But that should be good. I can't wait. Do you know who's going to be reading the chatter-rooney?
I have no idea, actually. Kevin, if he's still sticking around there, maybe he can let us know, or maybe it's going to be one of those sorts of surprise things when you find out in, what is it, probably about 3 hours? I think so.
Yeah, usually it's like at 6:30 in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning for me, because we're on the West Coast, so yeah.
Kevin's just said his chat reader has called in sick. Got any idea?
Let me think. Maybe I could read the chat.
Well, he's been nominated already by Legomaniac.
Oh, okay. Because if I read the chat, then I can't antagonize Kevin. It's just not as fun as being in the chat.
I'm multitasking.
You've got the verbal thing there, so
She hasn't got no one at the moment, so I'd love to help, but unfortunately I'm not available at that time. So
bye, Brick Picker.
Bye. Keep clicking and bricking.
see
Or is
you,
it bricking and clicking? can never remember how he says it. He says it such a heavy accent.
I thought he said keep licking and keep clicking.
Lick your leg.
I've got a different sort of channel altogether.
Well, maybe Kevin might just be able to get people for like an hour or something like that. I don't know.
How long are you playing for?
That one will be 3 hours. So I think that's. I'm just having a look. Yep, that's what his promo is there for.
Right.
Either that, or we're just gonna have to manage it or figure it out ourselves.
Well, Hinkle has my email. I've read the chat before, so if he wants to risk it all, I'm available.
Possibly go wrong.
Plus, I think you never know. Brian Saviano, or is it Brian's who's sick? Oh no, I hope it's not Brian.
Yeah, I don't know who it was meant to be, so I'm probably not fair to out them anyhow. So
yeah, well, it's one of two people. It's Brian or it's Ken, and I hope neither one is sick. So,
or maybe it's just Kevin being sick.
Yeah, Kevin's like, I don't want that person on again, and I'm just going to lie and say they're sick.
Kevin in the chat, I'm not sick. What do you mean?
Yeah,
I'm here.
So has the new the entire National Geographic line dropped over there? Curse you in England.
Don't think so yet. I think it's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow, yeah. Just like I'm just waiting to see how many Mandalorian, that Razor Crest doesn't appear. It's just like, well, we don't have nothing for the shelves of America. Sorry. And then everybody in England is going to be like, look, we got the Razor Crest. We're building it. How you like me now, Ryan?
You're in. Mr. Hinkle, I'll take Doc's offer of his help at the opportunity to lessen the chat abuse.
Oh, dagnabbit. All right. You got my emails, Kevin. Send me the link-a-rooney.
Awesome. No, that'd be great if you can stop by there, Doc. So, yeah. And for everybody else, I think that starts in about 3 hours and 15 now. So over on Mr. Hinkle Draw's channel. So definitely check it out because Kevin does a doodle stream every week usually, and then once a month he invites somebody else on, and somehow I slip through, so I'll be doing it with him.
I've seen your drawings. They're good. They're good.
His vetting procedure needs looking at,
And you had one of the better streams on the 72 hour. I'm just gonna,
Oh, well,
nice,
thanks for that.
Nice interaction. Like I said, there's gonna be a worst to first, and just like I think there's gonna be a Doc Awards. I'm gonna, my favorite, this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah, Matt's was brilliant. I had so much fun with yours, Matt. It was so funny. It was brilliant, and it went so quickly. You had 2 hours, did you?
Yeah. It was just the 2 hours just to slot it straight in there, and no, it's the other sort of thing we've spoken a little bit with Kevin about doing. I want to do it more, at some point as a bit more traditional sort of picturing that you have two teams. So then maybe it'd be like Team Hinkle and Team Elder or something like that. And
yeah. Yeah. That sounds good.
Try to work out some details there. And obviously, sorry?
Are you going to have a draw off?
Yeah, it'll be
kinda
something
like
that.
Kind of like a Pictionary battle with two teams.
A duel.
Because certainly now that StreamYards, you can have 10 people on. You could possibly do a moderator and then teams of 4 or something like that, and it might still work. Don't know. We'll figure something out at some stage because it seems that most people sort of enjoyed that, and I just thought it was funny when you then had Solo who hosted an hour, then come back and then was then in the chat trying to guess some of the answers and things. So. But I don't know how you managed to do that, Doc. It's sort of like, I know when I edit a video, and even if it's an hour long or something like that from an interview, and then you're going back over it a couple of times, how have you managed to do that with 72 hours? I mean, the first time would be hard enough, but then having to go back over bits and pieces.
Yeah, I know. That's why I always look at people. I'm like, 72-hour stream, more like 196-hour stream. People, I gotta watch it and watch it. And then after you make the clips and put it all together, you got to watch it again. So you're just like,
You'll be able to know everybody's words verbatim soon.
Yeah, exactly. Certain parts, I'll be like, okay, all right. And then the funniest part, though, is I'll remind people of things that happened in their stream and they won't even remember. I'll be like, really?
That, yeah.
Like, I saw that 5 times and I know it happened.
Did anybody fall asleep hosting?
No.
Not this year.
Not this year. Yeah. And it went, and this time, Julian actually stayed till the end because last year he was on for like an hour and he's like, I'm going to bed. And he just let it run.
Yeah.
And, because StreamYards had, or I can't remember which streaming service he used or whatever, but it had a maximum time and it would just shut off at that point by itself. So, yeah, he just invited a bunch of people in. And since it was Google Hangouts, anybody that was in the call could invite and let other people in the call. So it was just, they just kept it going. Just kept going. And then every hour, right at the hour mark, we'd all sit there and go, all right, will it end? Will it end? And will it end? No, another hour. It's like, we're going to continue. So it went for like 3 extra hours than, what they thought it was going to be. And then all of a sudden, of course, mid-conversation, bleep, over.
So it was a 75-hour stream, really, was it?
It was, it went 78.
Wow.
Crazy.
Just like this year, people were trying to count the Hoosier stream, which started like, 4 hours before Bricks Ninja went on. But I'm like, yeah, no, that doesn't count. You can tack something on at the end, but I'm not. No, nothing at the beginning. It's like no.
The line has to be drawn somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right, and then technically the cool thing too, though, is that it started Thursday night, and then ended Monday morning.
Indeed,
because it started Thursday on the West Coast, even though it was set for some Central Time. Technically, Ninja was on Thursday night. Whoa, the man with the van!
Hello!
Hey!
Look at them shades. We're doing good.
Yeah. How are you going solo?
Sweaty. Very, very hot. But got my air conditioned on, so I'm nice and cool at the moment. But yeah, on my way home, so I'm happy now.
I was going to say, what part of the country are you in?
Today I'm in London. Currently 36 degrees at the moment. So
what? Good Lord, that's Arctic.
36.
32 is freezing. I'm like, good Lord. Turn it off. Turn it off.
Fahrenheit, Doc. Centigrade.
Oh, that confusing stuff. Yeah, all right.
Anything above 30. Yes.
Okay. Oh, okay. So what's like? We think that 70 is the perfect temperature. What is the perfect temperature for centigrade?
What about 28?
I think because you guys work in Fahrenheit, don't you? But you call it centigrade, don't you? If I remember rightly.
Well, what is the metric one?
I think if I might work out right, I think that's 70 Fahrenheit. I think that's about 36 degrees, 37 degrees. I think that is. That's pretty close. Is that not right? I don't know. I'm not very good at my geometry.
Because I think once they start talking about 80 or 90 Fahrenheit, that starts getting like high 20s, early 30s.
Oh, is it? Oh, well, there you go. It shows how much I know then.
70 Fahrenheit, 21.111 centigrade, Celsius, whatever.
Cool.
So you all think that when it's 20 degrees, you're all like, it's nice?
Yeah.
That's only like 20 degrees above zero. It's just like, that feels like it's going to be cold.
25 is good. Anything above 30.
It's like, good Lord, oh good. All right, okay. But that just seems, I don't know, 20 degrees. I'm just like, dang, 20 degrees. Really? Okay.
Yeah, 20 is about 68 Fahrenheit.
So then you guys are like dying at 45. Then you're probably like, oh my God, it's a nightmare.
It doesn't tend to go up that high.
It doesn't even get that high? So you guys are like, what? It's 30 degrees. This doesn't make much sense. I mean,
in the UK, the record is about 39.
That doesn't make sense.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
It's just like, how many degrees is in a degree? I mean, it's just like, wow. 20 is good, and 19 more degrees and you're dying. It's just like, wow, okay.
Our degrees are bigger than yours, that's the thing.
That's just strange. It's like, okay.
We're hiding under trees or that weather.
So I guess, like, when we get 130 degree weather, you guys are just like, my God, that's the surface of Mars. What are they talking about?
In the damn fridge at that temperature.
I don't know why. I can't seem to hear Sai or Kaz for some reason. I don't know what's going on here.
Oh,
Yeah,
this is your chance to talk bad about him. Go ahead.
I can't seem
Is
to
that
hear
what
either one of them.
Oh, they're
was
just
saying-
saying.
I'll come out and I'll come back in again, see if that works.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah,
You
just
guys-
having a quick look at the conversion. 104 Fahrenheit is 40 degrees.
40.
Wow. Okay. I'm just the range between degrees is just. I think that's just phenomenal. It's just like wow, 1 degree temperature change is a big change.
It's quite a bit, yeah. But then, I mean, on the flip side of it, it's sort of like, well, when you have 0, which is where things freeze at, that kind of makes sense. Whereas I think for you guys, it's like 37,
32.
32 or something weird. It's like
Yeah, it's
starting
freezing. That never made sense to me when I was a kid. But having like it's 20 degrees and it's fine. It's just to me, it just seems too weird. That's just too strange. It's like no way, that's not possible.
I'll be off in a freezer at that stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, because even if they just slid our scale and said, okay, 32 is no longer freezing, we're gonna make it 0. 32 wouldn't be warm. It'd be like, no, that's not. We're so cold. That's so cold.
I think it's because it's so cold here for such a long time. When the temperature does go up, oh my
There
god,
we go. Squeeze through
so
that
hot
gap.
and here it's 20
Lovely.
degrees.
Yeah, because a lot of times here it's not. The winter time it's like 20 degrees. So we're 12 degrees below the old freezer-rooney. So it's just kind of like.
That's crazy.
Where for you guys it would be like -2, or
Yeah.
our 20 would be -2, or something like
On a
that.
good day.
Yeah, so it would be so that's good. It doesn't seem like okay, we're not freezing too bad. Whereas here we're like, oh my god, we're like 20 degrees below, what it should be or whatever.
Yeah, just having a quick little
Oh, and then
look.
did you see what Legolamaniac said? He said, "Are you on your phone while driving and nobody thinks everybody thinks it's just okay?" I'm like, I do it all the time. Legolamaniac, to me, it's no big thing. It's just like taking a call hands-free in the car.
Yeah, particularly I see some American YouTubers and things like that. Like they'll just be driving down the highway with their camera phones there, just waving them around. It's like, what?
Yeah, if they're waving it around, it's like, no, pull them over. That's too distracted. But if you're doing it hands-free, it's like, I'm hands-free, officer. Back off.
Yeah, some of them I don't think are hands-free. So then it's sort of like, and you're putting that up on YouTube, okay? Right?
Yeah. So exactly, it's like proof. Your Honor, let me refer you to video number. Here it is. Let's just play the video.
Yeah, let's play the video. Oh, and they're talking about the Lego store. Okay, cool.
He was like, Your Honor, I'd like to say thank you for the view. Can you be sure to hit the like and subscribe?
So yeah, this is the go to jail, do not pass go version.
The whole Okana family is here.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Hi, Doc. Hi, Solo.
So
Is he back? Or did he drive off the road?
I don't know. He could be on the stream for a long time then.
Yeah.
I just think he's not going to get out of the van because it's air conditioned. He's going to be like, no, bring my dinner over here. I'm in the car.
Definitely not. What's Lego me? Yeah, he definitely seemed like he's messing about with his phone hands free. Yeah. So. No, cool. Well, I think we're starting to come up on 2 hours, so I might start thinking about winding this down. So maybe just do a quick run around, start graphically. Kaz, what do you got sort of coming up on your channel and bits and pieces?
Excuse me. I don't know for sure because I've filmed a lot of stuff but haven't actually edited it yet. There'll be more Micropolis, more habitats, more GBC, more me rambling on. So
Which hidden side is that?
Normal server.
That's the Doc's asking which hidden side that is.
It's the bus.
And did you get it on clearance or full price?
It was full price, but I got double points on it, and it helped towards the GWP.
Oh, okay.
So
Went with that one, yeah.
right, that's the end of bag 3. So I think I'm going to bow out there.
And how have you found that as a build so far?
It's all right if you concentrate. A few things wrong, but hey, it's a live stream, so what do you expect?
Is it going to be modified to fit into the city, or just going to go as is?
I think it's going to be modified to go with Apocalypseburg, which I haven't built yet.
Okay.
Well, that's actually an interesting idea to put it with the Apocalypseburg stuff. And yeah,
I mean, the size of this thing, it's never going to fit in my city. It's just absolutely massive. So.
Oh yeah. Let you take it off of its wheels and turn it into a restaurant or something.
Yeah, I might do that. I think it would need quite heavily modifying because there's a lot of ghosty bits here that I won't be needing. So.
It's like, dang, look at them shades. He is
All right.
styling. He is styling, I tell you that.
Styling there. Let's get him on the full screen. There we go.
And he's all cool in the shade. Now we can't hear him.
Yeah, Gunny.
Blimey. Blimey, as they say.
How about now?
There we
Yeah.
go.
Better.
There we
It's so hot. Let's see now. And Sai, what do you got coming up on your channel?
Video coming out later about Hidden Side. Is it or isn't it cancelled? So yeah, put that together. Then later on, I'm on with Greg and London Bridge Bricks at 7:30 Saturday. Tomorrow, I'm on again with him. We're doing a Mario extravaganza, and Brick Hive will be on, and Star Bricks, I think, and I can't remember who else. But yeah, so then the usual kind of reviews and stuff, and anything else to think of. Usually I plan things, and then about an hour beforehand I change my mind to do something else. So who knows?
So Greg is on later today?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, busy.
Greg's got his usual sort of thing. And so, Doc, thanks for stopping by. And
Thank you.
no pressure. When's the 72-hour going to be ready?
Very, 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 very soon. Hopefully Tuesday at the latest.
Oh, excellent. We've got a bit of a time scale on it. That's brilliant. You got anything else coming up on your channel? Anything else that we should be
Well,
aware
after
of?
that, the virtual news will commence.
Yeah. I think we've all
I
been
got a couple of haul videos and some other nonsense, So yeah, back to it.
Can't wait.
Excellent. Great. And Solo, thanks for popping by from the van. What do you got coming up on your channel?
I'm finally actually going to get my my video edited where I built a Lego Hidden Side in the middle of a park. So that was deeply embarrassing. So I finally got myself in gear, and yeah, that should be going live straight after I think London Bridge Brick stream. So that should be up tonight, and then my Legoland vlog should be coming up on Sunday, and a Lego haul as well, somewhere in the middle of all of that. So yeah, a few bits and bobs.
Oh, excellent.
Hey, Solo, there's something on your forehead. Can you rub it with your dirty hand again, and then see if you can get more on your head?
Oh, yeah, I just made it worse.
That's why I wanted to do it. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think you keep making it worse. So, okay, that's 158, Doc. If you want to grab that for the virtual news at some stage.
All right, thank you, Solo. Thank you for doing that for me.
That's
You're very welcome. I'm here to entertain.
And as for me, as sort of mentioned a little bit earlier, in 3 hours' time, going to be on Kevin Hinkle's stream doing the multiplayer doodle stream and drawing with that. And I think Doc might be the chat moderator. So this could all get really, really interesting. And then tomorrow night at 8 p.m. UK time, 3 p.m. New York time, I'm going to be doing a live interview with Series 1 Lego Master winners from the UK, Nate Diaz. So come along for that. And if you want to, in the chat there, post any questions or anything that you want to know or get answered, then we'll be trying to pick up some questions out of the chat as well. So I think otherwise, that's most things, the live streams, and if we get the chance, some other videos coming up in between. So with everyone that's here on the panel, thanks very much for giving up your time. And I think most people, I've got links to their channels around the video, so definitely check them out. If you give this one a thumbs up, And it's always great seeing people and everything there. And I think we're pretty much done. So until next time, when we talk about all things Lego and lifestyle, have a great day. See you guys later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.